Good morning, Applied English. This little devotional right here, I suppose if I were to give it a goofy title, I would call it, What Do You Want for Christmas? This does come from John chapter 1, so one might think that it actually has to do with the Christmas story, but the book of John doesn't actually say much about the actual birth of Jesus Christ. It more or less follows his adult life more than anything. But we get to this point, John chapter 1, verse 35 and on. Listen closely here, because you might hear something Christmassy inside of this passage. The next day John, it's John the Baptist, was there again with two of his disciples. When he saw Jesus passing by, he said, "Look, the Lamb of God." When the two disciples heard him say this, they followed Jesus. Turning around, Jesus saw them following and asked, "What do you want? What do you want for Christmas?" They said, "Rabbi," which means teacher, "where are you staying?" "Come," he replied, "and you will see." Again, the Christmassy line in this one is, "What do you want?" It's kind of interesting how those are actually the first words that Jesus says in the entire Gospel of John. They're not the first words said about Jesus, but these are the first words that he actually spoke to people in this entire Gospel right here. He says, "What do you want?" He sees these guys are following him, and he asks them what they want. Seems like an innocent question, seems like a harmless question, but it's deeper than that. One of the themes of the book of John is that Jesus knows our hearts. Jesus wants us to wholeheartedly want him. He wants us to wholeheartedly follow him, wholeheartedly devote ourselves to God. And so when he asked these disciples, when he asked these two men, "What do you want?" he's really giving them a test, and he wants to see if they're going to answer correctly or not. Notice that these two men answer correctly. Their answer is simple. They say, "Rabbi, where are you staying? What we want is you." And that's the correct answer for us in this Christmas season too. All throughout the book of John, Jesus is asking people what they want. Sometimes he does it directly, like this case. Sometimes he does it really indirectly. And there are people who get it right, and there are people who don't get it right. And it's so easy, especially in hard years like this, to get it wrong. If I were to ask myself what I want right now, I don't know if I would answer correctly the first time around. I might say, I want sleep. I want my grade books to look better than they do. I want school to be normal again. And what Jesus is looking for an answer there is, I want you, Jesus. I want to draw closer to you. I want the hope that comes from knowing you. I want my life to be devoted to you, like these men answered right here. That's my prayer for you in this Christmas season, is that the thing that we want the most, or the thing that you want the most, is that hope that comes with knowing Christ. I don't know. For a lot of you, I don't know how hard this semester has been, how easy or hard this semester has been for you. But for all of us, that answer should be the same. That in this Christmas season, we can have hope in the one who carried our sin for us, and the one who defeated death and the devil for us. My prayer for you is that can bring you comfort and peace in this Christmas season as we prepare for next semester. All right, day 43 folder right here. Notice just a few things. We'll look at our lesson agenda first. Devotional checklist we'll look at too, and then there's the poetry unit test. I'll demonstrate just a couple of things that you'll see there too. Lesson agenda first. So two things. Comprehending poetry is the first part. That's basically the first half of the poetry test. Identifying grammar errors and writing with proper grammar is basically the second part of the unit test. You're watching our devotional and checklist right now. We'll walk through that checklist in a moment. And then from there, I just want to give you time to complete your poetry unit test. Notice that the test is not due until the end of the 22nd, so if you've fallen behind on instruction, that does give you the weekend to catch up on notes and studying so that you are ready for it. Please note that everything closes at exactly midnight on the 22nd, so if you wait too long, you will not be able to make this thing up. Please make sure you're taking your unit test. While we're here as well, next Monday, Tuesday are virtual days. They're semester wrap-up days. I'll be out of town, so you won't be able to reach me in person, but I will be working on those days. I'll be working virtually to grade things, to contact you, those kinds of things. I do have to send grade reports on the evening of the 23rd, right before Christmas Eve, so we just want to make sure that we are getting everything in so that I can have a good day of wrapping up grades and sending out reports on the 23rd. Devotional checklist. Now, I know this checklist seems daunting. It's 8 items right here. This is actually the order that I would tackle them if I were you. And most of these things are things that you probably have done already, but they're good things for you to check as you finish off the semester strong. Number 1, literary analysis essays. I probably would have left this one off the checklist if it weren't for the fact that it's 30 points. There are a number of you who have not completed our Telltale Heart essay from November. I did move all the materials for it inside of a white folder at the top of our Schoology course. So if you haven't done that, I highly recommend that you kind of quickly get that done. You can work on that virtually, or if you want to do it on paper and send me clear photos through Teams or through Schoology of what you've written, that's fine as well. Please note that this assignment just involves copying what we already wrote as a class. So check out those materials at the top of our Schoology course if you haven't done so yet. Expository essays. If you haven't completed your expository essay about heroes yet, I made another folder at the top of our Schoology course where all of that is in. If you haven't even started this project, I might even suggest to you skipping the outline and just writing the essay as best as you can. Again, you can submit that virtually to me by following the directions on typing your essay, or if you want to handwrite your full essay and send me photos, once again, just make sure they're clear and send them through Teams or Schoology. Vocab words, L through Q, Vocab Quiz is also available in Schoology. It's not due until the end of Friday, so you'll notice it still appears in your Schoology calendar. If you haven't taken that yet, I just recommend that you get it out of the way. Why worry about handling 2 quizzes and tests at the same time when all you have to do is clear this one? So I would recommend taking it. There are a couple of extra credit grammar questions on that quiz that look pretty similar to what you'll see on your poetry unit test as well. So I would recommend taking this one first if you haven't yet. Completing any other work labeled as missing. If you notice that you have assignments labeled with orange hexagons in your Schoology gradebook, those are things that can be made up virtually for the most part. I would recommend clearing those as much as possible just to get them out of the way once again. The rest is for prepping for your test. So are you familiar with the terms in our poetry notes? These past couple weeks I've been doing 1 poetry notes day per week. If you click the playlist link right there, I believe it takes you to... I think it takes us to our first round of notes, right? Hello there, this is our YouTube playlist right here. So it took me right to Poetry Basics notes. For the rest of the list, Fire and Ice demonstration is an example. Poetry Sites notes are our notes. Good Hot Dogs is an example. Poetry Sounds notes we did earlier this week. So again, if you're not familiar with the terms in your notes packet, click on the playlist. You can watch through our poetry notes videos to prep you for the test. Are you familiar with this semester's grammar concepts? In our last lesson, I provided a couple of really short grammar review videos that you can watch. Clicking this link will take you into that folder, so you can start watching those as well. Have you taken your poetry unit test? Just once you're ready, take that test, get it out of the way. It is our last major assignment of the semester. Doing well on it will certainly bring your grade up. Bombing it, or not doing it at all, will certainly bring your semester grade down. Then lastly, just an idea if you're looking for some extra credit. Have you completed any levels in our extra credit game? That'll be probably the last thing I check on the 23rd before I send grade reports, is to see if anyone has completed extra credit. You can find our game inside the course materials folder in Schoology. I believe it's a black folder inside of that course materials folder. Let's finish off this video by taking a quick look at our poetry unit test. Just want to walk you through the sections of this thing. I would point out with this test, there you go. I will point out with this test, if you'd like to take it with me in person, you absolutely can. You just come in Thursday morning or Friday morning to take it. I'll still have you take it on the computer. Because that's easiest that way. But if you'd like to take it with me around, that's totally fine. Just gotta make sure you do it this Thursday or Friday morning. Just want to show off the different question types on this test. There are directions for each step as well, so follow the directions carefully. First section is matching. So notice that I have given some poetry terms. I've actually split it into 2 matching sections, and their definitions. All you need to do for this is to drag and drop. So take the ones that you think are correct, move them in. Each one is only used once. There are 2 of those questions, by the way. So I split it. This one is all the sights and sounds devices, and the first one was all the basics, meter, rhyme, and analogies. Once you get past the matching section, you'll see a poem to read. This is Grape Sherbet by Rita Dove. I want you to read this one on your own. Notice that lines have been counted for you there. And then from there, you have 9 multiple choice questions that have to do with that poem right there. If you want to refer back to the poem, I believe it's item number 4. Yeah, so you can always click back to item number 4 to look back at a poem. You can take your time on these questions right here. I'd like to remind you about the Eliminate Choices button. So it says, which of the following best describes the rhyme scheme of the poem? If there's one or two or even three that I know are wrong, I can cross them out visually. So like if I know that there's no end rhyme throughout the entire poem, I can cross that out, for instance. Feel free to do that on the multiple choice sections. The multiple choice questions, that is. Once you get to item 14, this is where you start getting into grammar questions. Same thing. One thing to notice about ACT grammar questions is that no change is an option for all of them too, and it'll occasionally be correct. So if the underlined portion is correct the way it is, select no change. Otherwise, select what is grammatically best. Last thing is item number 25. Please respond to the following prompt in a 5 to 8 sentence paragraph. Grading your paragraph out of 10 points, so half on length and structure. Is it 5 to 8 sentences? Does it feel complete? Another 5 for overall spelling and grammar, and marks, capitalization, those kinds of things. Here's the prompt. What is the most important or helpful thing you learned in our applied English class this semester? How will this help you be successful in our second semester and in future English classes? Like I've been saying in class, there are no right or wrong answers for this paragraph, but what I am evaluating is your ability to write a clean paragraph. Have some fun as you take your test. You'll notice that there is a 1 hour time limit. That should be plenty of time for you to take your test, but let me know if you run out of time for whatever reason. I would imagine you can take this test anywhere between 30 and 45 minutes, so that hour should be a fine amount of time. So once again, I highly recommend that you work through this checklist today so you can finish off our semester as strong as possible. I'd like to remind you that our poetry test is not due until the end of next Tuesday, so take all the time you need to prepare. It might be more valuable for you today to clear as much missing work as possible so that you can focus the weekend on studying and then take your test next Monday or Tuesday before the semester ends. Best of luck to you. I'm praying for you. Hope to see some of you in the classroom to take your test and catch up on missing work.